Hey friends, I'm going to try to do this video in one take because it's probably going to be lengthy. The title will be something along the lines of what am I excited about grinding for in Season 23, Season of the Wish? What loot am I excited for? Something along those lines. And we got a long time, 188 days. So my advice is the second this stops being fun, take your time. Yes, you might maybe mark a couple days on your calendar if it's a double rep day, if it's a lost sector with a specific exotic drop, maybe a nightfall with a specific drop. My best advice is to consolidate your grind so you get a lot of different things done at the same time so you can spend more time doing the things that you want to do within Destiny, whatever you find fun. The seasonal exotic on the mission pass or whatever it's called is Dragon's Breath. I haven't used it. I'm sure Fallout made a video on it. I'm sure Cool Guy made a video on it. But let's just talk about this video here. I poured me some bourbon. I am absolutely going to take it nice and slow and look at everything this season has to offer. So to do that, of course, we're going to go to D2 Foundry. And you can see all the new weapons, except that's not quite true. Oh, look, someone ranked up over there. Got a rank 7. It's not quite true. There are even more things in this season than Foundry would lead you to believe. Check this out. If we go to Legacy Gear, suddenly you notice at Zavala, we can focus Main Ingredient, we can focus Outrageous Fortune, focus The Last Dance, etc. And the same is true at Crucible and at Gambit. So these old weapons that were in the Dares loot pool, there's now a way to get them more often. No longer are you going to spend, not exaggerating, an entire day at Dares to not get what you're looking for. You can do a couple strikes and have at least a roll to show for. And some of these rolls are easier to get than others. Like, I think Outrageous Fortune, for example, might be one of the best PvP weapons for a power weapon pool. I believe you get 4 off of the wall with remote detonation. And then also the lost sectors this season, they added the world loot pool. So what I'm about to show you on D2 Gunsmith, there is way more in the season that is realistically, that's the important word, realistically obtainable this season. But I'm going to go ahead and highlight the ones that I'm excited about the most. Then we can go through each of these itemized in whatever order they appear. So what I do every time I stream is I just make a quick image post about what I am grinding for this season, because that's one of the most asked questions I get on stream. Before I go into that, this is the Lost Sector day loot pool. We're on day 1 right now, and I will try my best to make a guide on the days that I am grinding this. I'll break it down between like a budget gear, a new player gear setup, a I haven't leveled up my seasonal artifact setup, a I have all the gear in the game, but I don't really want to try that hard type of setup. And finally, I'm a speedrunner. What is the most effective setup on Titan Hunter Warlock? And I will try to make a lengthy video, and you just click the timestamp and go to whatever fits your budget and your play intensity, right? So we can get through these lost sectors very efficiently, and you can go back to doing what you find fun. Again, I suggested at the beginning of the video, look on something like today in Destiny.com for the Lost Sector calendar. No, I want to click more. And you can see where it lines up with the, at least exotics, but eventually the world loot pool. The other thing I have here is the patch notes for this season. And if I don't mention this, everyone's going to mention this, but let's celebrate it together. Get a moment of silence here. They finally did it. They fixed an issue where rapid blinks could result in failed slide attempts, as well as something regarding the hand cannon camera centering. I think that's crazy. Second part of this is sprint and slide activated melees can no longer, whatever, you can still do it. That's what I'm trying to say. You can still do it if you time it instantaneously or at the tail end of the slide. Very interesting. And then a final thing is that the trait Danger Zone, I wanted to say Danger Close, the COD brain in me, specifically on rocket launchers. Let's go with Apex Predator. That's a little bit better, since you can get the traditional info stick where threat detector lets you know if there's nobody around you within 20 meters, 15 meters, whatever it is. if one person is near you, if two people are near you, and then the other perk, Surrounded, activates when there's only 3 people near you. So even if you don't have a radar, even if you're aiming down sights, if you get Gemini gestured, if you're playing against invis players, if you just want to know more specifically what your radar is saying, make yourself an info stick. Except my info stick, which is the Hothead. This is my roll. It got a sleeper buff, and by the way, you can never obtain this again. Danger Zone now. If you have 3 enemies near you, it not only does almost 0 damage to you, but you can also missile launch yourself just like in Scorched. So you can go play Quake in PvP. This is one of the most fun updates I've ever seen. And so if I didn't already own something like this, this would be my #1 priority, because it literally makes every fun match I have in PvP that much more fun when I can go for a crazy clip where I try to proc Danger Zone, just get the perk to appear, then rocket launch and go for some sky snipe, sunlight hurts my eyes type of thing. Hold on, I might actually have this clip on hand. Again, I said I am going to take my sweet time with this video, so bear with me. Let's see if I have this on hand. Alright, how about this one, though? Sunlight hurts my... Okay, that one looked better, though, at least. He still kind of stood still.
Guy?
What? Huh? I call this one, there are 2 types of Destiny players. The one who goes for the sunlight hurts my eyes, 55-second base drop type of shot. And then the other, no offense to them, just doing their best with the scout. Anyway, this perk update is for the sunlight hurts my eyes type of players. Like, they know what to do with it, and I am so excited that it exists. I think we're good to move on to D2 Foundry. No, psych, we're doing the priority list first. So, the thing I want most is the Trials Trace Rifle. Got that alliteration there. Anyway, if you go for specifically chambered with the range boosters, Zen Moment, kill clip, and a stability masterwork, it will exactly have 100 stability with the most range it can possibly have. And I think Zen Moment is possibly the most important perk on this thing, because of the anti-flinch. That is the problem with trace rifle. Excuse me there. That is the problem with trace rifles. The only trace rifle I can really recommend is Prometheus Lens, because it has something going on under the hood where it just registers better. Maybe it's the body shot Scorch adding to it type of thing that makes it so consistent. The other one is, of course, Aegir Scepter, but only in the super mode. And this is maybe the first legendary in a while that I wholeheartedly recommend using, and most importantly, like I put in the text here, I can use it with Fighting Lion. Kill clip might not make sense because of ammo, but maybe I go for Hatchling on this and just go for headshots and try to get multi-kills that way. There's an alternative role where I go for tap the trigger and then dump as much range as I possibly can. You can see it has a 0.73 time to kill, and if I go to kill clip, goes to 0.6, so it's close to an SMG, but if you're within that target lock, a mortal range, that type of thing, you're probably going to trade or lose. So I think I do want to go kill clip. Killing tally seems interesting, but ideally I'm just switching on and off of this thing depending on if I have the ammo. Maybe this will be a checkmate setup. Maybe I'll run around with Prometheus Lens and this at the same time, and perhaps just try to get a bunch of ammo off of a pool. Like, even if I see one special brick on the floor, maybe I switch off of my primary to another trace and then pick up 2 of them, type thing. That's why I'm excited for this. Finally, a usable legendary trace rifle. The next one is Eye of Soul, mostly because it has a native 5 airborne effectiveness, so when you stack extended mag and Icarus grip on it, it goes to 30, which is the perfect amount for a Dawnblade to pop Heat Rises and then have 100 AE. We check out Eye of Soul Adept. First of all, this is reissued a couple times, and some of the old reissues are borderline busted, where you could get snapshot sights or hipfire grip with opening shot, and then somehow find a way to get to 100 range, where you would go something like this plus opening shot. And now you're sitting at 100 range, and 100 AE once you stack everything else on top of it. So it's a busted roll, but we don't own that anymore. So we kind of have to cope. However, sniper rifles got an in-air buff, or are getting an in-air buff. I don't remember exactly when it's happening, but I know it was set in a TWAB somewhere. We might not need 100 range in the air anymore. However, Mercurial Overreach can still achieve this, and it's focusable this season. I'll talk about that later. I'm not going to break my back going for this, but if it happens to fall in my inventory, then I'll try it out. It's still a really, really good snipe, and arguably one of the best controller snipers in the game, in my opinion. Just because of how juiced it can get with aim assist and the zoom value of 45. The next one is a meme roll. This is the Optative hand cannon. Probably didn't pronounce that right. It's not a good hand cannon. Like, this is straight cope. But I will eventually do a video on the crafting, that time where you could glitch the game and craft any weapon combination you wanted. This is what the crafting taught me. Hipfire accuracy is just as important as anti-flinch, which is just as important as aerial effectiveness, which is just as important as accuracy and range. All of those factors matter on a gun, and this is one of the rare guns that can get a healthy mix of all of it. So I'm going to use this as like a self-handicap gun whenever I play Iron Banner 6s with my friend group, and the enemy team rolls in with double primary, and I need to take it a little bit easy. This hand cannon's going on, and I'll enjoy my bullets for the most part shooting straight. This Bellasaurus, I obviously pronounced that one wrong. It's the new PvP pulse rifle. It's the competitive reward, and it has a unique trait. Let's go type this in. It is called Deconstruct. That is a new perk added to the season. Yes, I see Zen Moment right there, and if I was using this for dueling, I would want Zen Moment. I'm not using this for dueling. I am using this for breaking barricades and breaking crystals. Mostly for if 3 behemoths roll up on me and throw crystals everywhere, barricades everywhere, I'm deleting all of them, and I will just double primary, and this is my barricade breaker. Kind of like how some people run Cerberus. So, yes, I will be grinding for this. If I get it, it'll just gather dust in my vault. I doubt I will use this as a serious competitive weapon when so many other pulse rifles exist that I simply like better. I will say, though, this aggressive burst frame has the range drop off to keep up with 120 hand cannons. However, when your time to kill is 0.73, actually that's pretty good. I'm gonna redact what I just said there. However, keeping up isn't good enough for me. They need to do significantly better. I don't know if that's significantly better to me. Moving on. Now we start talking about my seasonal grind, what I'm spending my engrams on. And let's go check my vault over here. I have almost everything that I would possibly want. I'm not as limited in loadout variety anymore. I have a bunch of things that will do the job at the very least. So the list of things that are brand new playstyles to me are few and far between. Despite that, I still could think of a couple things that are upgrades that I will spend my engrams on. One of these is the Pure Poetry hand cannon, where I use the Assert Arachnid's Facade helmet with the half grapple technique of just spamming the grapple button to make a grapple point, and then reusing that grapple point until you have well-rounded ×2. So Pure Poetry. We go to well-rounded ×2, and you see how it juices the stats like that. And so that's what you end up with once Thread of Ascent fragment goes off, and you are sitting here with something that rivals Igneous Hammer, except with Swashbucklers, you can use the Rope Dart to get a blazing fast 0.5 second time to kill. For my spare engrams, I will spend it on the Tube Grenade Launcher. Pretty simple there. And then on my alt accounts, I will be going for Outrageous Fortune because I just gave up going for this in dares. It's not realistic. And you pull 4 remote detonation grenade launcher shots off of the wall. I could marginally upgrade mine, but the chance of that happening is so low, I'm not even going to try. If it was in dares, I'm definitely not trying. But even at 5 or even at 1 engram apiece, it's still probably not going to happen. You should see mine. Oh, I also have a kill counter on it. It's not that many, but 186. It's because I usually clean up with my primary. Bounce this around the wall type thing. Okay, if I end up in Gambit, I'm going for the Albruna D with Golden Tricorn and then Elemental Capacitor on Arc so I can have 100 handling and the capacity to body shot kill after jumping through a lot of hoops with Golden Tricorn. It's unrealistic, but that's part of why I play the game. It's fun to set up those situations and will them into existence. On a more practical note, I LFG a lot. I LFG so much in this game that I made the mistake of going for... Hold on, let me get out of this menu before Zavala traps me. I made the mistake of going for rank 11. So that way when I use a friend finder, or team finder, whatever it's called, that I don't get egoed by some random guardian out there when I'm just trying to do the chill strat that works nearly 100% of the time, even if I'm playing with someone who's never played the game before. There's a difference between efficient speedrunning with 3 guardians that know what they're doing. There's a difference between using strong gear and trying really hard. And then there's a difference between using gear that will get the job done with as little brain power as possible, but still fast enough to watch some anime on the side. And that is what this gun is for me. For the seasonal artifact, I want to have an auto rifle that has shoot to loot with a variety of utility perks. Let's go ahead and type breakneck and you'll see what I mean. It has a bunch of utility perks on this column. It's got deconstruct to break stuff, attrition orbs if I want extra orbs, kinetic tremors to snake ammo that fell on the floor that might be unreachable, but I proc kinetic tremors and it grabs it off the floor. There's osmosis for using specific surge boost to maybe break like an anti-barrier shield or something in future seasons. I'll show you the artifact here in a second. And then of course there's just standard damage perks. I also like offhand strike for low effort grinding, maybe Dares of Eternity or the basic strike playlist. Let's look at the artifact. We have piercing sidearm, unstoppable hand cannon, unstoppable bow, overload auto rifle, overload pulse, and I'm sure it's overload rocket. I was gonna say I'm sure there's some other way to do it, but point is that auto rifle will fill a bunch of different roles. Previously, I was using this Herod C for that exact same reason, but now I can just upgrade this. Maybe I'll need this for a stasis surge in the future, but I seriously doubt it, and I'm willing to go -1 on the vault space because that's how infrequently I think I'll use that if I own a breakneck that has a bunch of useful perks on the right-hand column. Now we're moving into Iron Banner. And Iron Banner has arguably what I would say the best legendary weapon in the game. Even though I count bows as more of a special weapon, they are indeed a primary weapon. So this is just what we call a 576 bow because of the draw time, as Archer's Tempo to go even faster, and Swashbuckler to one-tap after a melee hit, on top of having the Skulking Wolf origin trait to go off the radar, and the Wildcard origin trait to make revives harder for the opponent to achieve. Now, I did say on this, I anticipate a bow nerf around the corner, mostly because of how often I'm seeing them used in high-level play on high SBMM pubs. This isn't just your normal middle-of-the-bell curve pubs. This is just every single game. Persistent use. Not just Wish Ender, not just Lemon Arcs. Bows are everywhere. SMGs are everywhere. 120 Igneous Hammer is everywhere right now. So I see all of those on the chopping block. I would also say Rat King and Grenade Launcher, tube pairing, is also going up there on the usage rates. Anyway, I think this is so good of a gun that you should get these min-max accuracy and draw time combinations while you're going for the 576. Just keep anything that has no minuses to accuracy and draw time. Like, I think this is it. Maybe it can go down to 612. Give me just a sec. Yeah, I can. This is more or less what I'm talking about here. Then you go Archer's Tempo, and you go Precision Instrument in case they hit damage. Or you go Golden Tricorn in case you're hunting for a one-shot kill type of clip. Again, assuming they hit damage, they could do anything. They could tie stability to being more useful than just how long you can draw it, since you can string cancel in the game. Not going to explain what that is, you know. If you know. But they might tie, like, accuracy into damage. They might tie draw time into damage. I just don't know. And this bow is such a pain in the ass to get that I refuse to regrind for it. So I pretty much kept any variation that had some mix of accuracy and draw time. as well as I have a single 576, but it of course has shot swap, which is a borderline useless perk for the way that I like to use this bow. However, I also have the Vanguard bow. What's it called? Trident whistle. There we go. And I kind of did the same thing where I kept multiple of them, just on the off chance that it gets nerfed. I will go for that pre-Astenix bow whenever it's available, but only if it's a good GM. It's not a high priority. I simply don't have the vault space for it right now. If it ends up going away at the end of the season, I'll probably go for a speed roll of that, so I don't think I put that on the list, so we're going to talk about it now. Archer's Tempo, successful warm-up, and again, because I cannot anticipate what this nerf's going to be, I would like to go for the one that gives no minuses to accuracy. And then, of course, I would be going for just a flat accuracy bonus, like Fiberglass. But I wouldn't be disappointed if I got Compact. I just think accuracy might matter more in the future, and draw time could be tied to damage. So I just simply don't know. And these are way too difficult to grind for me to justify putting the time in again. It's like I already put the time in once. I'm not doing it again. Long rant over. I said I was taking my time with this one. Next weapon up is Pressurized Precision, and I will simply throw my extra engrams into here. I already have a decent one that I can at least get the play style I'm looking for with. I don't like using fusion rifles that much, but I was just looking for something with Discord and high impact reserves to abuse in checkmate if I ever felt like it. This is more of a console type loadout for me. When I play on Steam on PC, I rarely play controller. I just like other loadouts more. Even if this gets me more mileage at my current skill level on controller, I just enjoy other stuff more. That being said, there might be a day in the future where I am grinding Xbox competitive and I just want to win for that day. In that case, I think I would want a role like this, where I can have Skulking Wolf on a fusion, as well as Air Assault and high impact reserves to leverage me playing more aerial and have some consistency. Console players aren't used to looking up. Hate to say it. Finally, I will keep a Discord Reeswalker if it happens to drop in my inventory, but I'm not burning engrams towards this since I can do this in future seasons too, if lightweight weapons ever get a buff. Now for the comp rewards, let's go walk over here so you can physically see what new stuff they added. Also the Dares loot pool in here too. The ritual weapon this season is the Chivalric Fire. It's destabilizing repulsor brace. I have a cool caster frame in my vault, but this one seems a little bit better, and you can pull it from collections anytime you want after you unlock it. So I will enjoy that +1 vault space, and whenever I feel inclined to use this, I will just re-pull it out of collections. First time looking at the comp emblem, looks pretty sick. Keep it up. One of the focus decoding new weapons is the Retro Futurist Shotgun. I'm not that interested on it, although it does roll some good shotgun perks. I will just simply obtain this if lightweights, reobtain this if lightweights ever get a buff in the future. The new weapons they added was, or I guess the new old weapons, is Last Perdition and Steel Sybil. If there is a Master Crota's End run that you're trying to do and you need a Void Sword, this has a very narrow loot pool, so if you don't have, for some reason, have the craftable Eager Edge Sword, you can just gamble like 2 or 3 of these, and you would have something that contributes to Crota's End Mastery on a Void Surge. Very, very niche, but just keep that in the back of your head if you're trying to farm out those patterns, do those triumphs, get the adepts, etc., and you don't really have the gear, your friend doesn't have the gear, that type of thing. The 2 weapons you could focus for comp, now getting back on subject, is Rose and Mercurial Overreach. Rose is arguably the best legendary hand cannon in the game because it's the only lightweight hand cannon. The role I recommend is going to be very generic. Think a Stompy Hunter. All you're doing is using Slide Shot and Opening Shot to make the range very, very high and have enough stability to have some decent anti-flinch, and you don't have to recoil compensate as much. Recoil direction should be at 100 if you go chambered, and you offset the minus handling with a stock that helps for that. The crafting taught me again that anti-flinch was really important, and you can see that I have a row of roses. Some of them are amazing, like this one right here. This one right here for bow swapping. And then we have my daily driver, which is this one. I have 1,000 kills on it. This one's for jumping in the air with stompies. Even if I miss, explosive payload hits the floor, and I still can clean up pretty decently with 4 shots. Surturachnid's Facade throws a wrench in recommending explosive payload because Woven Mail will make you have to shoot an extra shot even if you're hitting 3 heads in a row. So for that reason, I do want an alternate rose in the future, and I already have one, but maybe one with more AE. I'm not going to specifically go for this season, but I'll keep it in the back of my head. I'm simply not sold on rose anymore after the crafting, because the crafting taught me that I already had a perfect hand cannon in my vault. I don't have to go for rose. And look, I even put a note there, recraft for controller, but that was an old one. It was like, I'm done. I don't have to recraft it. This is it. Zen Moment, 99 stability, phenomenal anti-flinch, just means consistency for me. And then Snapshot to offset the 44 handling, as well as it gives me an extra 5 stability. It is a nutty gun, and I plan to use it with Surturachnid just to not have almost any flinch whatsoever. That would be really fun. As well as Lucky Pants to get that accuracy bonus so I can hit yellow numbers across the map. No exaggeration. I may be hitting like 20 damage, but I'm hitting my entire magazine of yellow numbers. So, Rose, it's great. If we ever have an option to build into anti-flinch for real to the level of Surturachnid on Stompies, I will probably main Rose again, because getting those extra 2 mobility, a stat from Lightweight, it's just so good. Okay, now the real thing I'm dumping all my engrams into. This isn't going to happen. I did my Destiny Needs Bad Luck Protection video, and this one's part of the reason why. I will likely never, ever see this Mercurial Overreach roll. And the reason that it's good is because on a Dawnblade, if you pop Heat Rises, you have 100 AE and 100 range. And range is essentially accuracy on a sniper rifle. So I'll just show you what that looks like, because this is the perfect one for it. So it should be Heat Rises. It's a base plus 20, but then once you eat the grenade, it goes plus 70. And then you finish that off with an Icarus Grip. Now you're at 100 and 100. There's not many guns in the game that can do this. I might go ahead and load up just to show you what the scope looks like, or you can take my word for it. Just take my word for it. The scope has still a pretty small center reticle, but the problem is the peripheral vision, the black bars on the side of the scope. It's too narrow. You get tunnel vision. It's like when you hit the nitrous in Fast and the Furious. You can't see anything around you. So you hold an angle that's head level, but you can't tell if someone walks around to the side, like you can with other sniper rifles. Now, by contrast, it's also 40 zoom here. Defiance of Yasmin has the best peripheral vision in the entire game, as well as just being a juice sniper. The only thing it doesn't have going for it is that 100-100 setup. I don't know if that matters anymore. I don't even know how to test for that. Like, what would be a scientific test for that? Maybe I could set up a macro for it, but I'm not going to risk my account on that. I know it's a gray area. Point is, if I'm tired of missing in-air shots, this is the only gun in the game that there is no excuse for. It's either you hit them or you just aren't like that. And for that reason, I want to hunt for the snipe. There are other roles that I would go for, like mulligan and ricochet rounds, just to go for trick shots on Wormhaven, bouncing bullets off walls and ceilings. That sounds fun. As well as maybe Discord, but I would probably use Macabre for that same role. Pink Macabre for that same role. Of Discord Snapshot to have better ammo economy in Checkmate. But with Mercurial Overreach, you can also build a Strand jump shotter, where you use Elemental Capacitor and Perfect Float or Discord with Strand and Thread of Ascent or Speed Loader Slacks, and you can have a pretty consistent Hunter jump shotter sniper rifle. So if I happen to get one of those, I will keep it, although still unlikely that I get it. I'll keep any version I get. I don't care about the barrel, I don't care about the masterwork. I just want to hit some sunlight hurts my eyes type of clips. using Danger Close. Also, if you go Ophidian Aspect, you don't have to worry about that 100-100. You just always have it because Ophidians are plus 10 AE. Eye of Another World is plus 15, and the Grape Helmet, Astrocyte Verse, is plus 30. So it sounds counterintuitive, but you really can run Astrocyte Verse on Dawnblade and use something like Cloud Strike. It's doable. I've done it before, and you can rip people. Let's say a map like Midtown, you can rip the entire team before they get out of spawn. Like, that's how effective it is. Let's get back to this. The Gunsmith now has some focusable loot that was previously in the world loot pool and rotated in his own stock. And I wonder if Xur will have stuff like that too when Xur rolls around this week. Also, he updated. You got a pretty good Iota Draconis today. Doubt that matters whenever you're watching this video. But if you go to Focus Decoding, you can see Cantata, Syncopation, Fugue, etc. all the way down. There's a couple things out of that pool that I really, really want. For one of those, it's the Cantata, because again, the crafting taught me that anti-flinch, hipfire, AE, range, all the above, all very important. It's about finding a min-max of all of those things together, and I think Cantata is that gun. So let's look at that real quick. Cantata's got Suro Synergy for anti-flinch. Anti-flinch, check. Hipfire grip, check. Opening shot, just free bullet bending, check. Steady rounds, anti-flinch, combo hipfire grip, that type of thing. This is an amazing hand cannon. And I might be like hyping it up right now. I still have yet to play test it. I might like Nation of Beasts more than it, with enhanced hipfire grip and offhand strike. Although I will tell you, in the crafting, I crafted this with the BXR frame instead of explosive packed, and it was okay. Flinch was the thing that held this back. Even when I ran it with Lion Rampant and took off angles, if somebody tags me with a single bullet, it's just I'm missing the whole magazine. There's nothing I can do about it. Now that being said, Nation of Beasts with Surturachnid Facade might be illegal. Might be one of the best guns in the game. I have yet to try it yet, so I will update y'all whenever I get onto my hand cannon grind. Right now, I am an auto rifle user. About 2.5 months ago, I switched sensitivity to quite literally more than double my sense. I was at 803, now I'm at 807, and my shot is finally getting consistent, but not consistent enough to hop off the tracking weapons. I still want to keep the ability to track. Fitting that theme, a Pizzicato is a cope weapon, where it has anti-flinch and hipfire and a damage perk, and it seems kind of fun to use while again working on my tracking aim. This Fioritura is not cope. I have this on my alt account, and it is amazing. If I ever catch myself doing a Xbox-only competitive session, I will probably be using this in Gear Falcon or this in Lion Rampant. It is that lethal of a gun, and I honestly find it easier to use than Immortal and the other SMGs, even with Peacekeepers. Also, the added benefit of using verticality on console, they just don't expect it. So you may think this is a cope roll, but I certainly do not. I think it's one of the most competitive guns in the game, and it's sitting right there. In fact, just to show you I'm putting my money where my mouth is, boom, there we go. That looks fantastic. I think after Suro Synergy, that will be 100 handling, and it has a damage perk. I'll consider this. Maybe I'll have some fun with it. It's going to go into the vault, but ultimately I'm looking for Hipfire Offhand, and then Zen Moment Repulsor Brace. Maybe not Repulsor Brace, though, because of Echo of Vigilance. Get that extra overshield. I'll figure it out here in a sec. I'll keep a couple of them. Fioritura. So yeah, both Zen Moment and Hipfire Grip I consider equally good. Just because on controller, yeah, the flinch still bothers me, but I don't have to keep like a sight on my opponent like I do with mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard, I want the vision to be as clear as possible. I don't know how I hit shots on Crimson, but I still do it on M&K. But if I could somehow see my opponent, I would hit them even better. And yeah, Zen Moment lets me do that even better. The right-hand column is really where I don't know what to put here. Like I said, Repulsor Brace, well, I'm using Gear Falcon, and Vigilance is probably going to proc. if I use Titan, I have controlled demolition. So do I really need that? I also have the barricade. So this one's probably a pass for me. Might keep it in the vault if it's perfect everywhere else. Swashbuckler. Let's look at what that does to the time to kill. This is a realistic pick because I do play a lot of Strand Titan, Stasis Titan. I play a lot of Thunderclap, etc. So, like, realistically, this perk can proc and rip some people. A 0.53 is pretty damn good. That's like, it's like Drang boosted type territory. Pretty good. See what Kill Clip does for us. It's also the 0.53, so you know what? Swash isn't looking like a snack anymore. Kill Clip is way easier to proc. Finally, the change between Kill Clip and Offhand Strike, which is better? Is it Kill Clip where you have more damage even though you're dropping off sooner? Or Offhand where you have less damage but your drop off is way farther away? And it might be stickier. Also, take a look at what I recently did on controller. I've been all over the place on controller. I tried 20 and 0.5. I tried all these wacky combinations, multiple different controllers. At the end of the day, I just want to hit my shot consistently because I can't keep up with the Zimmers. If this was like security enforced and Bungie kept it airtight, I would be way more comfortable being at around a medium or a high sense and playing with that. But at this point, I just want to hit my shot. That's the only way I can keep up. So I go for 5 look sensitivity so I can center my hip firing with 1.0 and a 0.7. That's where I'm at right now. But it gets results. I don't even play controller that much, and I still like go flawless with this no problem. So it gets results. I'm telling you here. I'm telling you. Also, fusion rifles are really, really OP at a low sensitivity because you can torque the right stick and control the recoil a lot more aggressively is the word I'm looking for. Out of curiosity, let's see what that golden tricorn would do. 0.4. Can I bump that up any more? Maybe like a surge or something like that. No. What if, out of curiosity here, I'm like thinking Iron Banner type of thing. This is what makes Destiny funny, by the way. It's setting up these stars aligning type of moments and seeing it through to the 7th column. Okay, so a 0.27 exists. Hold up. So I'd have to have somebody shoot a Lumina at me, then rip a team up with abilities mixed in there. And then also, it has to be a hunter, and they could get 3 tapped by a rapid fire. Super unrealistic, probably never going to happen, but if it does, you'll see it in a video at some point. Speaking of see it in a video at some point, I can't actually show you this clip, but I promise you I have hit it on my alt account, because this is the role that I own on my alt account. Like, I obviously want overflow, so I can just play more aggressively. But what rolled on it was shoot to loot. And I had a very devious idea one day that if I proc Reaper, class item perk, and then get a kill, an orb of light pops out of their body, slightly where their health bar would be, it pops around there, and you can shoot the orb of light out of the air to proc Devour. Echo of Starvation. That recently got a nerf on Hunter and Titan, but if you have Feed the Void on Warlock, it's the same. So I will use one of my precious vault spaces to go for that stupid clip, because it is so satisfying when it hits, and the Guardian Theater moments, you would not believe it. They're like, how the hell did he get all his health back? And they don't realize my POV is gun somebody with the SMG, switch to the shoot to loot sniper, shoot the orb out of the air, and then gun the next person with a nano rocket or something like that. Like, it is chef's kiss, and I cannot wait to do this on my main account. Heliocentric. This is one of those where the Lost Sector grind I am going for. Whatever day 3 is, you'll see me in there. I don't actually like these other 3 options, though, so I hope it's a good one. It's that good of a gun, and the Mechaneer's Trick Sleeve, quote-unquote, buff isn't too kind to this one. So you can see it keeps up with Immortal at base with a 0.67, 5 bullet kill. If we add Frenzy to that, still 0.67, tier 9, so you'd have to have a Surge. Kill clip, very, very comfortably, gets that 0.5, and that's probably what I blanket recommend. However, I have not tested this because who the hell has gotten this to drop, right? Can't just confirm it. I think with Precision Instrument, you might be able to just raw 4-tap some players just from base. Especially if you can have an Armor Surge running around or something. Like, it's that little of a difference. And also when you're dealing with overshields and healing rifts, grenades, etc., Precision Instrument is just starting off the gunfight already ahead. And Mechanier's Trick Sleeves might be the 35% here. Yeah, so I'll just add a Radiant to it, and we'll see what that changes. Mechanier's Trick Sleeves got nerfed to go from 35% to 10%, but you can chain that 10%. All you have to do is get critically wounded. It lasts 5 seconds, and if you pick up a kill within those 5 seconds, it extends that perk again, so you might be full health or devoured up, that type of thing, and still maintain your extra 10%. So you pretty much need a... Will 3 Surge do it? No, I'm not running 3 Surges for that. With Precision Instrument and Mechanier's Trick Sleeves, you will always hit your 4-tap, your 0.5 second TTK. Out of curiosity, let's see if kill clip can change. It can, on hunters with a lot of surges, go to a 0.3. Maybe you also have a friendly Lumina teammate. I don't know, but I think this is heavily slept on hunter. Well, you know what? No, I think people know this is good. They just simply can't obtain this damn thing. The Trials Report meta that you see every week is fake. It's fake news because they can't actually get the guns they want to use. If everything was craftable, you would see a slightly different meta from time to time. But it's the fact that you have to grind. Again, I said the Destiny needs RNG protection video. Let's just get back on subject here. Crazy sidearm, lightweight, it just belongs on Hunter. Get those 2 tiers of mobility. Next up is the Glissando, the Glizzy 47. With box breathing, we have a 0.67. That's the reason to do it. It's a mortal at a distance with extra steps. A lot of time with the scout, you're landing anyway. I don't always have the freedom, so sometimes I do proc Surus Synergy. I do want perfect float at some point, so I can just play Dawnblade Heat Rises without actually using my grenade. And then I add an Icarus grip, and suddenly I'm sitting at like 80 airborne without even popping Heat Rises. And what that allows me to do is use something like the Incendiary Nade with just Celestial Fire and then a bunch of Scorch Fragments and go for multi-kills. Like, that might be the way I run it in Iron Banner. I hate to say it, most of the I'm going to say like 99% of the Destiny player base that has made it to Ascendant has never tried Balance Glide or Strafe Glide beyond just the first time they booted up the game. Like, once they put Burst Glide on, they never swap back. I will tell you that in 6s, when you're trying to spawn camp people, these other 2 are crazy when you can't persistently keep Heat Rises up. So just keep that in the back of your head for when Iron Banner 6s roll around. Losing my voice here. We've been going for too long. Hope you pardon any mistakes in this video. Anyway, Glissando is one of the best scouts in the game, period. It sits at 20 zoom, so it's just like Forerunner. Unfortunately, it is a strand element, so I only use this for swappables when I'm using another strand weapon. Maybe go from like round robin to Glissando, that type of thing. Coronach. This one's cope. Don't click off the video. No, wait. Don't click off. This is Zen Moment and Surus Energy. So like already there, because of the crafting, it gets plus for me. But this is cope. Like, I'm not going to try to sell you this gun. I'm just going to tell you I have a lot of fun with it when I use it. And I want one on my main account. It's terrible, but it's fun. What I do with it is I use maybe Wish Ender, a sniper rifle, etc., proc Cascade Point, and then rip the remaining 2 Guardians. Look at that. 0.48 time to kill on an auto rifle. And you have enough bullets to end 2 Guardians. So you can have some crazy clip hunting potential. It's just a satisfying auto to me, despite the base stats being low. I will tell you it's a terrible weapon. Just again, I don't want you to misconstrue. It's a terrible weapon. The final thing on here is the Marcato 45 machine gun. Yeah, this is an info stick. So you can, again, learn if 0 people are near you, 1 person is near you, 2 are near you, or 3. And you don't even have to have any Power ammo. It seems like a decent machine gun. I left out some other things here. The dawning weapons. Let's see. Source is dawning. Man, I wish I knew the other shorthands for this website. Let's just go with cold front and see what comes up. Is that it? Does that seem new? Yes, deconstructs there. So remember how I was telling you the competitive pulse rifle reward can rip barricades? Well, so can cold front. And I'm excited to run this with double submachine gun against other titans. Maybe I run this with like thruster or something and just completely disrespect the fact that they put up barricades and just play really aggressive. That sounds like fun. This is a terrible gun, even when you juice it out, even when you go cascade point or something like that, it's still terrible. But it's a charming gun, which is why I kept the worst drill possible of it, aka the DeWalt cordless drill, in my vault. It's that bad, but it's charming. What else is in the Dawning? I remember there was going to be a glaive, do Season of the Wish, and just hope that I can find it. Weapon, glaive. Oh, you know what I can do? I can do trait, Dawning Surprise. There we go. Unlucky. Alright, well, let's go glaive then. No, it's not there. Alright, I'll just revisit this in the Dawning. Just know that they probably have something that's funny, and if you get it, keep it. Don't break your back going for the seasonal weapons. It's honestly Bungie's fault for having a terrible system of managing seasonal loot. There have been some seasonal weapons in the past that are still goated, and there's just no way to get them. Now, I did say this was going to be a long-form video, so we still got some video to go here. I'm just going to give some first impressions on everything I see, and keep in mind that the dungeon, the Warlord's Revenge, or whatever the hell it's called, drops on Friday, and I don't know what any of the weapons are. I imagine it might be Siva themed or something like that. Maybe Iron Lord themed. I don't know. Beyond just those couple hints, I have no idea what to expect. Am I going to do it on release? Probably not. I'm going to wait for an optimized guide and then fly through it. Might even play trials if it's the trace rifle. We'll see. Let's just get first impressions and enjoy some bourbon. Alright, this super cluster seems like a super PvE weapon. It's got reconstruction and cascade point. Let me put you all onto Chicken, who does some DPS simulations. DPS simulations. So check that out. I imagine the Chicken will show us what this can do. And I'm curious to see. I'm not going to break my back going for this, but it is going to be craftable. So we will see. Swords, for the most part, are cope. But just like Chicken does niche DPS tests, I do those myself sometimes too. I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm obsessed with swords because I play Phantasy Star on the side. And I always look for unique ways that I could squeeze out extra damage. And this sword has some pretty cool ones. It's got On Guard on this left column, and you can proc it with Surrounded. Now, every PvE player is yelling at me right now that I'm dumb, which I am. I am a dumb PvE player. That every sword sucks because it's not Bequest. Bequest just raw, for some reason, has higher impact than other swords. And you're absolutely correct. But when you do Master Crota, sometimes that surge is not Arc. Sometimes that surge is Void. And I would imagine if you can do a niche rotation with dumping a special weapon, On Guard, flash counter, etc., maybe tractor cannon swap, all of the above, shoot to loot some ammo, there is a convoluted way to squeeze out extra DPS that might be more fun than just hitting mouse 1 on repeat. And just like I am interested in PvP for trying to make the stars align and do something cool, it's also nice to do that in PvE from time to time, when the game can challenge me to do so. Maybe this will eventually end up in some low man strat or something. I don't know. But if I ever crack the code, I'll let you all know. Until then, I have to be really, really bored to do so. Now, if Crota is a solar surge, just use Lament. But if you want to be extra, this will have the Whirlwind Blade set up with Relentless Strikes. And that's a pretty brainless combo. Just hold mouse 1 and you win. Also, the sonar station has a sword that is very similar to this. If you want to spend those engrams and work towards your master completions a little bit easier, possibly carry someone, I don't know. Vouch save. This looks like maybe a PvE Gear Falcon setup. Could be a nice little controller Gear Falcon setup. Not really sure. I'm gonna pass on that. And not to like undersell any of these weapons. There's like always a purpose for the weapon. It's just in Destiny you have 600 vault spaces, and when I played this game this long, I know almost immediately if it's worth a vault space or not. Some of those question marks I have on this list, by the way. And it'll turn into a video. It'll be like, I thought this weapon would be really cool, but I hated it, and then I deleted it. And then it might save you some time if you find you align with things that I like and dislike in this game. Undercurrent is this 5 Barons or is this 3 Barons? Like, I don't know. But it does have Volt Shot if you want to do some niche Lost Sector setup against champions or something like that. It's an adept weapon, so it seems like a pain in the ass to regrind. Is bait and switch really better than chain reaction? Like, is damage when I'm lacking on these? Maybe it's an underlight thing. Maybe there's a difficulty where in order to use wave frames to kill just simple red bars, you need to proc a convoluted perk like this. But that just doesn't exist right now. So I'm not going to go for this yet. Like I said, maybe a Volt Shot interaction. This could be hilarious in PvP. But I don't think it's worth a vault space. For me, personally. Retold Tale. Now, this is going to be just... I heard word on the street. I own one of these on my alt account. I can confirm, but there is no concrete scientific evidence here. This shotgun fucking slaps on controller. It's ridiculous. It will one-hit at distances that mouse and keyboard will only dream of. I can't prove this to you. It's a feeling. Obviously, the role I like is Quick Draw Snapshot. But now that I have some new perks, I don't know. I don't know the interactions with Deconstruct against Titan Barricades. But if it just like straight up blows up a Titan Barricade, I'm down. If Barrel Constrictor can get me a 7th column, I'm down to try it. But at the very least, I am probably always going Quick Draw on this left column. Yes, I can do the well-rounded thing with Cert Arachnid. However, I have the best Mindbenders in the game for that, not even joking. It's unobtainable, by the way. Thanks for changing the loot pool every season. Well-rounded, plus threat detector. I think it gets to like 97 handling with the threat detector scaler. It's insane. It's pretty good. Past that, maybe a Gear Falcon setup, but really, really unlikely in PvP. Is this a Gambit weapon? No, probably not. I would say the Vanguard Arc one's a little bit better. Again, just taking my time with this. Really trying to think outside the box on some of these. We already looked at Undercurrent. We already looked at Eye of Soul. Is there something I'm not considering here? Oh, there is something I'm not considering here. Slick Draw and Snapshot Sights at the same time. If you are Diffy and you got it like that, it's hard to go back to any other role. At least on aggressives. Keep in mind that for this to feel really, really good, you need to get that range as close to 100 as you possibly can. If you're not doing that, it's going to feel inconsistent in the slightest at extreme distances. That 13 zoom seems really scary. I haven't mentioned this yet, but in Season 22, we're in Season 23, in Season 22, they added deterministic recoil to weapons. And maybe this has an awesome recoil pattern, and this 13 zoom is worth it. I'm just not sure yet. This new permeability perk is kind of like Osmosis, and it would be kind of sick one day to see if they have both perks on different columns. That would be like the ultimate PvE utility Lost Sector type gun for shield breaking and surge stacking and stuff like that. It'd just be a stupid gun that I'd love to use maybe once and then delete it. Alright, Disruption Break. This could be like the Mido Mini tool at home. Volt Shot for PvE. A couple... this looks like a PvE gun for sure. This is the replacement to the Aikilos SMG if you never obtained it before. Nano munitions. Is that nano rocket? No, it's an emergency reload for being near teammates. I mean, it seems okay, But Aikilos is extra bullets for breaking a shield. Like in PvP, that's like non-negotiable. It's not even comparable. Doomed Petitioner. In other words, this is the first info stick linear fusion that also might be able to body shot somebody in checkmate. Super niche, but this Dragon's Vengeance perk is what pushes me off of this gun. When your ally dies or you reach critical health, this weapon's magazine refills against bonus rate, a range, charge rate, and handling. I want you to think of a scenario. Sure, it's not going to happen very often. Could be 0.1% of the time. But it's going to happen to somebody out there. And you're going to think of this video and be like, damn it, Cammy was right. That is, you are going to charge this thing up while lining up the shot, expecting you to line up the shot exactly when it's ready to fire. But before that happens, your teammate's going to die to something randomly on the other side of the map. And your gun's just going to shoot before your crosshair finds their head. Because it randomly gets a faster charge rate. Yep. Couldn't be me. I'm not willing to do that. In fact, what's it called? Sail by Pitch Glass? My checkmate one-shots are going to come from Swashbuckler on this thing. I'm just going to shoot him in the body, thunderclap him type thing, and then go on a rampage. Like, that's how I'm going to play checkmate. Also got right hook. It's crazy that I could just pull these out of my ass, like these build ideas. But I played this game for a long time. And I just don't have enough time in the season to make these super niche video attempts at these stupid clips and whatnot for fun. But with an extended season, with 188 days to get that bored, I think I'm ready. This is my season. It's my time. Okay, we're doing Season of the Wish. We're not even halfway. Again, take it slow. Get some bourbon. Drink responsibly. My heart immediately goes to Frenzy, considering Thorn just got a new catalyst, and honestly, they juiced it too much. At the very least, it did not need the mobility bonus, the killing wind side of that, for just getting a kill. It did not. Leave that alone. Maybe the stability was too much too. Everybody here thinking they're goated with Thorn. No, the gun's doing all the work right now. I think they went too far. I would love to see them walk it back. I will say Quick Draw and Frenzy is a pretty good combo. I've been using it on the Deadpan delivery, and it has been pretty good. Even Slick Draw, I mean, has been pretty good. There are some moments where it's like question mark that definitely should have killed, but if you're not using conditional finality or duality, pretty much every shotgun in the game has the chance to just whiff like that, and I can't explain it. Don't pull Fallout out of retirement trying to get him to explain it either. We just never will know, and by the time we know, they change how shotguns work again. We have to redo the whole process. Just use what works for you. I'm telling you, Quick Draw Frenzy works for me. The extra damage bonus of Frenzy that is easier to achieve from Thorn and Gemini Jester and Scorch and that type of thing makes lightweight consistent. And in a mode like Checkmate, you don't have special ammo the entire time, but your gun is lightweight the entire time. So you just get to run faster from point A to point B. This has potential to be part of a lazy damage strat, maybe not the best in slot. Maybe it's a goated lost sector gun. I'm not sure yet, but it's in the world loot pool, so I have to be very careful whenever I delete it. Now, I immediately go to slide shot because that seems fun, but then when you think, like, when do you use rocket? It's just standing stationary in a well, correct? And if everybody's sliding around, you're going to rocket yourself. It's going to happen. So maybe not slide shot. If I'm by myself in the lost sector, sure. Then I think stationary in the well. Clown cartridge makes a lot of sense because you're always getting 2 out of it. Maybe you even go surrounded and clown cartridge and you just have like bait and switch without having to use the other weapons type of damage. That would be pretty sick. So I'm definitely keeping this one for a niche damage setup, and if I can never get surrounded, I'll just cope with explosive light, except I own hotheads. So do I really need them? That's my info stick. That's my lasting impression one. Ah, there we go. Both field prep and explosive light with auto-loading holster. That's kind of hard to beat because you can get the extra rocket from reserves. And then I also have clown cartridge and field prep. This is probably the one that's going to go, so we'll make a note. Replace with Crux. And there we go. So now I know what I'm looking for if I see it. Already talked about Reese Walker. Twilight Oath. Somewhere Drew just like flipped his pillow to the cold side, woke up type thing. He easily has to have like 100k kills between all his Twilight Oaths. I might even be like underestimating that number. When I see this gun, I just think Forsaken. I think 7th columns. I think flawless execution. I think double special. Not in PvE, by the way. PvP players did it first. So if you ever want to relive that nostalgia of this era but not have your shots register, yeah, go for a Twilight Oath. Now, I go for ambitious clips. This is not one of them. This is way too unrealistic. That shit is not happening. I don't like this new perk setup. By the way, my Awuzume. This is where I would, you know, switch to the Crunchyroll sponsorship if they sponsored me. Wow, I even put a note there. Maybe Ophidian, backup mag for high impact reserves. That's super damn specific, but what it's alluding to is that if you use the backup mag mod with extended mag, your high impact reserves do more damage on the second and first bullet. Now, in general, you will be able to kill a super with just high impact reserves, but I'm not trying to kill a super. I'm trying to do better than that. I'm trying to clean up, like let's say with a Rose body shot or a 180 headshot or an SMG bullet less or something like that. Like I'm trying to squeeze out as much body shot damage as I possibly can with high impact reserves. So I'm very disappointed that high impact reserves is not an option. The next best one, explosive payload, arguably can have some bullet bending power there, but Vorpal weapon is essentially high impact reserves, except it does less body shot combos, so it's worse. So if you really like the snipe, I think you go for this one. Incandescent can do some pretty funny things with throwing knives and incendiary nades, so if you play a solar class, consider that. But for generic daily driver, go Vorpal weapon. I wish that they kept high impact reserves on it. Already talked about breakneck, but why not just pull the one from collections? If you want the onslaught perk. Moving on. Imperative. Does this get a 2-tap combo? Does that do it? Is that enough? Tier 2 and under. No, that's not enough. Deconstruct, but no Hake breach armaments. It does have explosive payload, which is very annoying with this archetype. It does have no distractions for the anti-flinch. 21 zoom, and my comparison is Transfiguration from Last Wish. So real quickly, let's go look up that one. And that's this combo, which does it to tier 6. And then if you get another kill, it's just the 2-tap on everybody. Hold up, though, for Imperative. No, it's kinetic. I was going to say, if this is solar, you could just, like, use it with Lumina and float around like that. Yeah, but it's not realistic to get an AJ perk. Forgive me there, I was dumb. Just use Transfiguration, go craft that. For that specific setup, it's a little bit better. I'm sure there's a niche, like, PvE artifact type setup where it's a little more brainless on the LFG type Grandmaster Nightfall. But at first glance, I just don't see it. Sleepless. It's got permeability, which... Nah, I'm not even going to cope on that. I don't think there's anything there. This is the new Iron Banner Strand High Impact Auto Rifle. Note that target lock doesn't really do anything on this archetype. Onslaught looks really cool, but we don't really have any data to know how much it speeds up the final blow. And if y'all missed that Lodbrok video, just get kill clip on Lodbrok. Hey, friend. Yeah, hey friends, go grab this Lodbrok that the gunsmith had. It's pretty sick. Is there anything else? Attrition orbs. I'm not sure what the rules are on this. Like, does it matter rate of fire impact type thing? Is this only going to proc on an overshielded type opponent because they have to have more than 200 health? Do I even need a kill? Like, can I just continually shoot an opponent in a Well of Radiance with my Well of Radiance and make my teammates have an extra super? Just thought of that on the spot. Collective action. Am I going to camp crystals with this and get a faster TTK? Maybe. What does Slice do? These are all questions for another day. Not a good enough weapon, though, for me to just, like, say immediately that it's worth getting. But I will test all that, and I will do a specific review at some point. Alright, y'all are probably looking in the video description for some very generous individual to timestamp every single weapon and tell you where they are. I don't have the patience to do that right now. I figure y'all are just going to go to sleep to this. But I bet the most asked question in that damn comment section is what bourbon is Cammy drinking right now? And how does the new Tiger Spite hold up? Because at one point, I called this the worst weapon in the entire game. And I stood by that at that time. However, my free-to-play account owns a pretty good roll of this from the old version. And it just got updated over time to where the 450 RPM archetype was kind of competitive. I would say now, when you compare it to an Igneous Hammer, it doesn't hold a candle to it. It's not even close. You have to work so much harder than hand cannons to use an auto rifle. At least in, like, effective play at a top 1% level. That being said, in just pubs, oh, you can definitely hit a 7th column with this. This can do it. It's got the range, it's got the stats, it's got it all. It can do it. Is this the worst gun in the game anymore? No, not even close. I would say this is slightly above the middle of the pack. That's where I would rank this. Frenzy's also pretty decent, but I would rather have that on a Suro Synergy gun since I'm constantly reloading to proc the perk anyway. And you don't necessarily always pick up the kill. Sometimes you're like shooting a barricade or a player runs away, that type of thing. It's okay. This advanced reflexes thing feels like it would mess me up more than it helps me, but we will see. I'll let you know how it ends up. I'm definitely going to do an auto rifle tier list at some point. I reobtained my favorite Sorrow's Verse. Got the goated Abyss Defiant Adept, if you want to see that video in the comment section below. Already made the Positive Outlook video in the past. All the exotics I'm starting to find a place for. I no longer pull them from collections. I just keep them ready to go. That's how much I've been enjoying auto rifles. Even Centrifuge with the junk right there, a junk marking, already has 252 in it. I love that gun. I do the seasonal repull of Tommy's matchbook each time. I don't think Tiger Spite's going to make it into my vault, but doesn't mean it's terrible. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. What is the worst weapon in the game? I already showed you all this. This is the worst weapon in the game. I challenge you to find something worse that is a primary weapon. This Exalted Truth can give it a run for its money, but I would argue that this is at least usable. That cold front, it repulses bullets. Anti-magnetism. Moving on. Scatter Signal. It has Dragon's Vengeance, so that thing where your teammate might die and you might not be exactly on target by the time it charges. Could happen. I don't know what Slice does, again, but maybe you see this with the 6 Coyote setup. It's a rapid fire frame, so Lego Flash tells me that it's probably not going to be used. You pretty much need high impact reserves or kickstart or something like that to make it consistently one hit. The one I fear is the Garden of Salvation one. What is that one called? Source Garden. Shows how much I use fusion rifles. This is the one I fear on the re-release, because it's got the high impact reserves. Also, I shouted out Chicken. Let's shout out Lego.
Charge time.
This is the ultimate guide to charge time with charts that show you all of it. And I might have even just misquoted this, but depending on if you have a charge time, masterwork, accelerated coils, liquid coils, the mod, etc., depends on whether or not you one burst your opponent within the drop off. Sometimes you want to hit it a little out of the drop off, and sometimes your opponent has an overshield or woven mail, and that's really hard to anticipate and work around. He actually did that testing. It can tell you exactly what each fusion rifle can do. So I'm just always going to refer that you just go to Lego Flash and look up that specific fusion rifle, because he will have put in the time for it. Scalar potential. Rapid fire pulse. This has the Dragon Vengeance. Rapid fire pulses I pretty much compartmentalize as controller weapons that have a nice ease of use, a good feeling consistent gun. Will I like this more than the BXR Battler though? I don't know. I will say Headseeker I think can double proc on a single body shot, so you can get some interesting combinations that lead to an overall better feeling of consistency. I don't know exactly what to recommend on this. I'm sure some controller player will come out with like the perfect min-max. If you play a low sense, hip fire grip. If you play a high sense, go keep away. And even doing all of that, you're only at 34.85 meters, 35 meters. You're going to get sauced by a mouse and keyboard igneous hammer. It's going to happen. That being said, I don't know what they can do with pulses. Might be a map problem. Already talked about Optative, but is there other things I didn't consider? Moving on. Adhortive. This is a adaptive frame. If this was high impact, we'd be having a totally different conversation here. It's a solar adaptive frame. So you know where I immediately go? I'm going to start opening a second tab here. I have to keep researching that. I immediately go to Source, Iron Banner, and go to the Pulse Rifle. We got Jorum's Claw and Forge's Pledge. Solar, Adaptive, Suros Synergy, or Skulking Wolf, Kill Clip Offhand, or Moving Target. It's ridiculously strong and consistent. And if you run it with Radiant to extend Radiant, it's one of the best builds in the game for 6s. I'm not even kidding. Then we have Forge's Pledge with Zen Moment and Rampage. Skulking Wolf. Both guns are pretty equal. Forge's Pledge used to have a very awkward sight sway. I don't believe it's as bad anymore. It might still be there in some degree, but I'm not spending engrams on either of these. I've moved past them. If I'm going to use a pulse rifle in a competitive sense, I'm putting on No Time to Explain. And if I'm using it in a fun sense, I'm putting on the BXR Battler. That's just where I stand with these right now. So anytime there's a new solar adaptive or lightweight pulse or something like that, it's got to beat all of those three that I talked about. The 2 Iron Banner and the BXR Battler. And I don't know if this does that for me. I don't really know what it offers that's unique in this regard. Like I said, Attrition Orb, maybe there's that like Wall of Radiance versus Wall of Radiance, you build the super type thing. Maybe it's Headseeker and Radiant. I don't know. Maybe you team shot with Disruption Break. I don't know. I'm moving on. I'll revisit that one another day. I'll leave that one to Cool Guy. I'm sure he'll come up with something. Already talked about the sword. 600 RPM auto rifle. This could be world loot pool, probably is with wildcard. And it has onslaught. Still gotta wait for the data on onslaught. I'm excited to try this out with Cert Arachnid, but because of lack of anti-flinch, perfect float, Zen Moment type perk on this left column, I'm a little hesitant to pick it up for PvP reasons. But could make for like a decent lost sector gun if it just happens to drop like that. Surely I'm almost done. Oh, y'all were waiting for this one. Y'all were waiting for the reaction when I would see Disruption Break on a bow. Lithophobia. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it is a perfectly appropriate name for this bow. And not only is it Disruption Break, it's Disruption Break and Steady Hands on the same bow. That is so messed up. And it's craftable. I'm contemplating if I even want to tell my audience about this thing. You're going to figure it out on your own. I don't want to spell it out to you as to why this is a good combination. But just trust me when I say I'm already annoyed by bows. I don't want to see more bows. Waking Vigil. This has had a lot of re-releases before. I don't know if this is the best version of it. I already don't see Slide Shot. It might have even been able to get Zen Moment at some point. Let's humor it, though. I like Shoot to Loot the best out of this column, but let's just say we go Rapid Hit or Perpetual Motion. Let's just Rapid Hit. Is it Kill Clip? Is that what I would run on this? I can't think of what this is doing better. This, like, even has the old 150 perk setup. I know they buffed it at some point, but this one still is just way behind. This is a World Loot Pool SMG, 14 zoom. And I think I actually got one to drop today, and I just deleted it out of habit. And I probably should have kept it. It might have been decent. I think it was Frenzy and Heal Clip that I got. This is one of those that I think on Hunter you might have fun chaining Radiant. I don't know if I'd blanket recommend it when we have no survivors from the... Is it Ghost of the Deep? Yeah, this is an aggressive frame that gets target lock. So it doesn't even seem comparable. Could be fun. Again, I speak from a competitive standpoint on that. It could just be a really, really fun weapon. You let me know in the comment section. Apprentice. I actually got a headstone one of this to drop, but I deleted it because I figured I'd get a better roll at some point in the future. And I also knew the Trials trace existed, so I wasn't even motivated. And the second part of that is like, this is so disrespectful to spray Quaza to use another stasis trace rifle. Look at it. How could I do that to this? It's almost 3,000 kills fed the spray Quaza. That's a lot of rare candies. It is craftable, though. Does have enhanced hipfire grip. Maybe I run this with Cert Arachnid, Fighting Lion, and go for like headstone shenanigans, but I seriously doubt I do that if I get the perfect Trials trace. This is again just personal preference on I like Spray Quaza better, so I'm gonna use it. Finally, this one says Wishkeeper. I don't know where this comes from. Spider-Man trap bow. It's I'll talk about this in a specific review when it comes time for that. I'm not excited about another bow. Like, already tired of Wish Ender, let alone Wish Keeper. I think it's time to close out this video. Thank you all for being so patient and letting me take my time and not have to edit this so specifically. Like, seriously, I'd be on this for another like day and a half, trying to make it short and succinct. I like the long form content sometimes. Not only from the editing perspective, but because like I like watching long form content as a viewer from other content creators I watch. So I hope some of y'all feel the same. Past that, what's on the docket for season 23? Answer is I will probably be off stream doing a little bit of comp on alt accounts, setting them up for the season. I'll be running master raids for fun, not even for loot, just because I have, look at the amount of days left, 188 days. I just get to relax and do stuff because I feel like it, not because I'm grinding for anything. I know this video is kind of like a long list of loot to chase and that type of thing, but I look at this long season as like, I just get to have fun with it. I don't have to worry about them pulling the rug from under us and changing the game like blink of an eye. You were planning to do this cool master raid with this strat, and then all of a sudden it's just irrelevant because they came out with the new magical girl subclass or whatever. They should do that, by the way, and maid outfits in the Eververse store. Haven't actually looked at that at it this season, but I heard on Twitter that they were selling a starter pack bundle with exotic weapons. Maybe I do a ranty video about that, but like if you're that desperate for money in this like pay to win thing, just come out with the wizard hat, come out with the maid outfit. I will buy them. I will single-handedly fund Bungie if they can do that. Gonna go ahead and end the video here. I appreciate y'all again being patient with me, and I look forward to posting videos about this season. So take care, everybody. Hopefully I feel the energy to stream at some point soon, and I'll see you there at twitch.tv/camukicks. Y'all are the best.